Good morning. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you to those who serve and those who serve because it's the people here who are helping those who serve who also make a difference, and we often forget them on Memorial Day. This is where we should be asking you one of those overarching questions like, it's a holiday and you're listening to this, so you must want to get rich quick. And we've got the solution for you. So do these 5 things in the next 3 hours and you will be a bajillionaire. That's not the right question. That's not the right issue. We want to ask you a question that's different. We want to ask you what your issue is, how you can solve that issue. As renegades, we want to provoke your thoughts and engage your mind so that you can develop your solution to your individual challenge today and take action. Now, you may be saying, hey, it's a holiday. I don't plan to take action today. You could take a very simple action today of just thinking through what you might do with the rest of the week. We're going to help you figure out what you need to do, what you need to be thinking about, because I'm Bob Graham, that's Tom Brush, and this is today's Antidote.
Well, happy Memorial Day, Bob.
Happy Memorial Day.
It's interesting. I opened up my Facebook feed this morning, and the first thing in it was one of my cousins posted a picture of the grave sites of my grandfather and 5 of my uncles on my mom's side of the family, all who had served. And I guess I had forgotten that. And thinking more about it, her other brother and brother-in-law all served. And so it just struck me of, I guess I hadn't really ever put that all together. So that was a good reason to remember.
It's poignant for me as well because I have 2 nephews who are in the military. One is in South Korea right now serving, so he's way across the world, and we worry about him each day, and we thank him for his service. I have another nephew who had a baby last year, and a week later he went and served somewhere in the Middle East for a period of time, about 8-9 months. And that's tough to watch a father leave a baby after 1 week. But he did it. He's back, thankfully safe and healthy, and still serving in our military down in North Carolina. So I have those reminders close by, and thank goodness for the people like that do the things that, frankly, I'm not sure I could do. I do a lot of things. I'm very talented in many ways, but following orders and serving in the military probably would not be one of them.
Yeah, I think about that often. I'm not sure. I think I could, but not sure that's where my best talents lie.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You were more eloquent than me. So today, I guess it segues because people who serve in the military put themselves at risk. They put themselves in harm's way so that you and I can have our freedoms and enjoy so many luxuries in life. And this week, we're going to be talking about risks and how we confront risks and how we deal with those risks. Do you want to start that discussion? Because I'm going to do a little...
You're going to try to make sure your screen keeps working?
Let's not ask for a miracle, Tom. It's a holiday Monday. Let's walk before we run, shall we?
Sure. So it's interesting. I think that risk is it's a fun topic, I guess.
Okay.
It's one of those things that we get up every day and we take a risk, small, yet we get in the car and drive. And that is taking a risk that somebody else could not be driving effectively. And in business, anytime you do anything in business, it could potentially be a risk. Every conversation you have, every piece of information you put out, are all small risks to the overall impact of your business or your organization or your professional brand for that matter. And so, I think there are big risks, there are small risks, and there are calculated risks.
It's funny you give the 3 categories of risk because I was thinking over the weekend a lot about something you and I are putting together. And at various times over the weekend, it seemed like a big risk. At various times over the weekend, it was a small risk. And at times, it was no risk at all. And I think a lot of what happens with risk is it's the story we tell ourselves about what happens if it doesn't go perfectly. But by the same token, I'm not sure anything I've ever done has really gone perfectly. We had a thing last week. We had a networking event last week, and frankly, there were fewer people involved than I anticipated. And I was really worried that we had made a horrible mistake. And it turned out to be one of the best events, and people are still talking about it. And so maybe we can't assess accurately what's going on. You got some comments flowing through, don't you?
Yeah, my friend Kate, I'm not, she said, she started out with, yes, it was a risk that someone might be listening to us any day, let alone Memorial Day. And then, so that was a good comment. Kate is, I like Kate a lot.
I don't know Kate, and she's already making fun of us. So I like that.
Yes, she definitely is someone who says that. But this, I think, is a little more appropriate to the topic, although that was. But this is on topic, that sometimes risk is about our ego. And I think she's probably right, that there is a part of that, there's those risks that we are afraid sometimes to take. And really, that goes back to a little bit about what we were talking about last week is, getting over that hurdle is sometimes the biggest thing. And just saying, what's so wrong if something goes wrong? If that networking event last week had been a flop, let's say.
You can't even say it.
It's so hard to think about thinking that. And what would have been the issue? We start all over again. We'd have learned something from it, and we'd figure out how to move on. And I think she's so right, that our ego, is everything about our ego?
Yes.
Darn.
Isn't that why some of us meditate? To try to take that part of us and put it out. The whole, I was meditating this morning. The whole thing was focus on your breathing, focus on your breathing. As thoughts come into your head, let them go, let them go, let them go. They're like clouds in the sky. Oh, there's a thought, poof, and away it goes. That's all ego. That's just us practicing not allowing silly thoughts. So silly thought I had this morning at 8:26 was, why are we doing this today? No one's going to pay attention. And then I thought, okay, that's a silly thought. Why do I care? Why should today be any different than any other day? It's not like, we aren't going to win an Emmy probably this year for this, although you never know. Do they have a category for small middle-aged white guy podcasting? Because if so, you and I are golden.
Brand new ones, yeah. We're in that newcomer category.
Newcomer category. That's right. And I think our ego is the game that we're constantly playing. I mean, look at the people who who are successful. They just speak from the heart. The more I see myself guided by my heart, not by my brain. Yes, my brain informs my heart, but my heart's a pretty smart one. And my instincts are pretty strong. I can't tell you, Tom, how many times my instincts have told me, do this, and I've done the opposite.
And it's worked out?
Yes, sometimes it does. But the more as I've gotten older in the last couple of years, I've really tried to follow my heart more. And the result has been, I'm not concerned about ego. So as you know, last week, something happened for me, a group I'm involved with, I got more involved with. And that was really the first time in my entire life that I did something that was completely selfless. It was not about climbing that ladder in that group. And the funny thing to me is I climbed the ladder in the group without even trying. And the risk.
You know it, right?
Right, exactly. Because they saw my talents. They saw the person I can be when I'm not trying to be a political animal, which I can be really well. And I saw my talents in new ways that I didn't even have to think about, should I or should I not? It's like, this is a way to help people. I'm in. And I think that's the way we overcome risks. The thing I like to do, and I do this with clients all the time, is what's right for the customer. Often when you do that, the risks go aside because like, oh, well, my customer wants to be able to pay online. Okay. How do we make that happen?
Right.
Well, that's risky because if their credit card bounces, blah, 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 we're going to be caught. Okay, yeah, there's going to be a bad actor every so often. What's the risk of, doing different things? And I always like to think about what does the customer need, because I find that can often make me disregard risk, not disregard it, but put it in its proper place. Yes, there is risk, but I'm doing what someone needs. And when someone needs something, there's an opportunity there.
So let me ask you a question about that. We had a post inside the Facebook group today, our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. How about that for a way to
that was yes. And of course, I've got, this is where I do my ad. If you haven't joined our Ring of Renegades, please do. It's a private Facebook group where we're gathering people who are looking at the opportunities, the ways to move forward in these difficult times. It's a great gang of people growing every day. We'd love to have you join us.
So before you jumped in with your ad, which is just kind of like typical, that was our little commercial in the middle of our segment.
That's right.
Brian Hensley posted a comment about, business owners and the risk sometimes they take in the outlay of capital to be able to provide those resources that their customers need, and the challenges that sometimes that brings in the day-to-day operations of their organization. And I think it's like a double-edged sword almost. Yes, you take that risk, but if you don't take that risk, you're not going to be able to serve your clients or your customers. And, you go back and forth between, should I do this because it could make a huge difference in my business? And if I do this, it could make a huge impact in my business, and I think, so he was asking us what we thought about that. So I'll put that to you. What do you think about that risk?
Well, I think we take a lot of risks in our business that we don't even think about. For instance, going to college. I have a niece who graduated. You actually met Maggie last year. Maggie just graduated from Lynchburg, and now she's out into the job market. She's got a 4-year degree. When she went to school, everything was hunky-dory. Now it's a little difficult. The job market's challenging. She took a risk. She invested in 4 years of her life. That's a fair amount of time and some financial expense, with the presumption that at the end, she'd be more marketable, more appealing to the job market. That probably will bear it out statistically, but today doesn't look like a great return on investment. You have a daughter in the same situation, right?
She graduated yesterday.
Okay.
And my take
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was actually the virtual, colleges took a risk in how are we going to celebrate these kids? And, I think it could fail miserably, or it could be just another one of those things that we say, okay, we did it. And you know what? We did the best we could. And hopefully we provided them with some sort of closure to their experience. And I think that, to me, education is one of those risks that is worth it.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Are you better prepared for whatever you might be, or for work-wise, professionally? But I think your engagement and connection with other people, you just are learning so many more different perspectives. And I think that different perspectives will serve us throughout our lives in a way that just how it prepares us for a potential job is different.
But that's a huge cash outlay.
Sure.
Whether you paid for it or your daughter paid for it, someone put money on the table, big money.
Correct.
We're hearing about people graduating with debts of $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. That's serious investment. So if you're someone who went to college, you've already taken a huge risk. You just didn't realize it, because we all accept that as a normal risk.
Right.
And if you think about marriage as a risk, buying stocks and bonds is a risk, putting money in a bank probably is a risk some days. Like you said, driving your car is a risk. I think it's funny, in business, we focus on risks more acutely.
Sure.
Because we seem
more of a financial piece tied to them. Like, okay, am I going to invest in this business? Am I going to invest in this piece of equipment? Am I going to invest in marketing or promotions or whatever it is? But I think those are just some of the risks that business owners or professionals take.
Right. And I think the risk, I've now started 2 businesses. The first one, I was very reticent to invest. This time I've been much more strategic about it, and also realized I had to put money into it. It wouldn't work. It would trickle along like that unless, the trajectory is when you spend more money. Unfortunately, that's just reality. I don't know of any business that you can talk to where the person's like, oh, I just got up Monday morning, started the business, and Tuesday I was full with clients. Just doesn't work. And that's just part of to me, that's the challenge of it, is how do you overcome it and not think about that risk all day long? And that's what we're going to talk about over the rest of the week. So, Tom, what's your antidote for today?
My antidote.
See, I can do segues like you.
Yeah, I like that. My antidote for today is understanding that risk is all around us, and that in almost everything we do, there's risk. In every word we say, there's potential risk. And so I think because of that, maybe risk isn't so bad. And it's something that we maybe shouldn't necessarily shy away from, that we should be welcome to make those calculated risks that we think are going to work out. Now, in doing that, we can't be reckless. Set me up for that. Because I think some of those reckless risks are ones that get us in trouble. Calculated risk, I think, is a good thing, because I think the reward on the other side is better or has more opportunity.
I'm going to try to go for something simple. I'm going, not that yours wasn't great, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to keep it really simple. Think of something that you've been afraid to try, and sometime this week, try it, whatever it is. And we would love to talk to you about it. You can write in the comments, or frankly, if you're struggling with it and you want to talk to someone about it and talk through what overcoming that simple risk would be, I know Tom, he'd be happy to talk to you about it. I certainly would love to talk to you about it, just to give you a different perspective. We do some of that in our lives. We do some coaching, and often what we do in coaching is help people overcome risks or take things that are risks and turn them into opportunities. So if that's of interest to you, you can direct message each of us. You can put your comments down there. We'd love to hear from you. With that, Tom, we should probably close the book for today. It is Memorial Day. Please have a safe and healthy day and celebrate wherever. Look at you with graphics. Didn't see that coming. Celebrate Memorial Day and certainly honor and recognize those who make it possible for all of us to have the freedoms we so easily and so blindly accept and enjoy.
I would echo that. Everybody have a great day. And, I think it's funny. Sometimes we don't want people to, we think, well, why are we celebrating? Well, we're celebrating because those people chose, many of them, to do what they could to allow us to celebrate. And we should remember while we celebrate. So have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.